I was contacted about 2 months before they actually started the shoot, asking me if I would go up to the University of Central Lancashire, and I didn't know what for. It gradually transpired that they got the idea of producing Mission to the Unknown, which, if you think about it, is the most sensible thing that they could possibly do to remake, because it didn't have any of the regular Doctor and companions in it. Bill Hartnell wasn't in it, I wasn't in it, Maureen wasn't in it. And so it seemed like a very sensible idea. And I realised that actually what they wanted was me to go up and enjoy their company, which I certainly did, but to give them some sort of insight into what it was like working on the show at the time. And of course Edward D'Souza was there as well, who was in the original recording, in the original programme. I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't expect it to be terribly good, actually. I mean, if I'm honest, I thought, well, all right, yes, I'm more than happy to go up and give them support, but I didn't really think it was going to be up to much. When I got there, I met Andrew Ireland the previous night when I was staying in the hotel before we went to the university the following day. And he was very personable, very easy to talk to, and he was full of enthusiasm for it. And he described what they'd done and what they were trying to do, and that on the first day they were spending 3 days to shoot it, but they were using all the techniques, not of modern technology, but they were using all the techniques that would make it appear like it was shot in the same way that the original had been shot. In other words, in those days, of course, you had cameras which had a turret on the front with 4 lenses on it, and those lenses had to be changed by turning a handle on the side of the camera by the cameraman, depending on the size of shot that was required. And you couldn't zoom on those. We didn't have zoom lenses. So if you wanted to go in on something, you had to push in the whole camera. And if you wanted to pull back, you had to do the same, or you had to go to a wider lens, and there'd be one for close-up, and there'd be one for a 2-shot, and there'd be one for a wider shot, and so on. So they used fixed lens technology on modern cameras, but they didn't use the zoom facility. So that was really very intelligent. Edward D'Souza, when he walked in and saw the sets, and I didn't know what to expect, he went in, and it was almost a tearful moment when he said, "It's perfect. These are exactly what I remember. This is how it was." And it was constructed perfectly. I did later see the original drawings that they had, the set drawings and photographs from the original production, which they had received from the BBC, and it had pictures of the Varga plant and everything else, which they created. They did it all. So I watched the first day of the shoot, which basically concerned, they were doing 2 elements that day, and they were doing all the bits with the galaxy leaders gathered together, meeting the Daleks and having a discussion about whether it was safe to proceed and all the rest of it. And it looked absolutely stunning. I mean, I saw them shoot probably 5 or 6 minutes of the eventual production during the course of the day. I know they shot their sequence inside the rocket, and they also did the sequences of the galaxy leaders. It was really quite remarkable. And the enthusiasm was palpable. I mean, everyone who was involved, the people who were working backstage, the people creating the sets, the people actually working the cameras, the set builders, I mean, everybody involved was absolutely on it. And they'd cast it well, and it looked as though it was going to be very good indeed. And as I say, I didn't expect it to be. I was invited to go back to see the finished product, and I'm lucky enough to have seen it, and I've got a DVD of it. I'm not allowed to show it because it is embargoed until the BBC decides what it's going to do with it. I gather it's quite close that we will be able to see it, and I think people will be very relieved to know that. What I've seen of it, and I've seen the whole finished thing, I was there for the launch, the actual presentation to the staff of the university and all the others who were there, and all the people who were involved, the actors and everything else, they were all there to see it. and there was a great excitement. It just felt electric. And you got the original, the opening titles, and into the first shot, they were on script. That was it. And I've got to say, it's very good. As I say, I wasn't expecting it to be much. It is way, way, way better than I anticipated. So congratulations to them, and I hope that we get a release soon. Mark Ayres contacted me in about 2019, no, it was probably around about the year 2000, I guess. And he wanted to put together a commentary to go with the original soundtracks, because all the original soundtracks exist. Thanks to a man in Croydon who stuck a microphone in front of his television set and actually recorded the audio. So the audios of all the missing episodes exist. That brought back a lot of memories, because I'd forgotten a lot. I really had forgotten an awful lot. And it was a very exciting thing to do. So we did those, and they were very successful. Incidentally, the original soundtrack was what they used as the background for the recreation of Mission to the Unknown. So the timing and the delivery and the type of delivery, that all came from that original soundtrack. And I, of course, did all the linking commentaries on those. And that revived my interest in it. So that has been a pleasure. And I mean, I've seen most of the episodes, I would say, not all of them, that do exist. But I think there are only 17 or 18 of my episodes that do exist. All the rest have gone, which is very disappointing. I'd be thrilled if I could revisit The Massacre, which I think is the best serial I did. The Celestial Toymaker would also be pleasing to see more than the one episode that does exist. The Mythmakers, nothing exists at all, and that was also a fabulous serial. And The Savages, very little exists, tiny snippets. So those are the ones that I would really like to see. The Dalek Master Plan, well, 3 episodes exist. We'll never see the Christmas one again, which is a pity in many ways, because I think it must have been very funny actually. But it doesn't. It was a piece of nonsense. Feast of Stephen. But no, it's been a pleasure seeing the enthusiasm that people have for the old episodes which do exist, and I know that if one of those serials that I've mentioned does turn up, wow, I think the response to that would be just fantastic. I'm doing about 3 or 4 different conventions this year. I can't remember, one in Exeter later in the year. I think I'm doing the London Film and Comic Con. There are 1 or 2. I can't remember them all offhand. But I'm not around a great deal, which is a pity. I'm doing one in Bridlington as well, which is quite fun. No, I'm not doing a lot, so I'm open for offers. I'm doing a bit of writing, and I've got my dogs to look after at home, and it's very pleasant at the moment when the weather's nice. It's great to be out in the garden and get out in the open air a little bit, so I'm perfectly happy with what I'm doing.